Hey, Jono here. Just thought I'd do a quick video on some tidbits of things I wish I had known when I first started out with theHunter Call of the Wild. I'm not saying that the game doesn't tell you this stuff, I'm just saying that for me, I just didn't retain the information, or yeah, just wasn't aware of it. So first up, let's talk about visibility. There's different icons down there between your heart rate and sound you're making that relate to your actions. So me moving around, standing still, kneeling, lying down. Now, one thing that I didn't know until later on in the game was certain bushes and trees, such as this one, if you go into them deep enough, you'll actually be invisible, which is what that icon's showing now. This can be really useful when hunting animals like bear or coyote. It can make a world of difference between a successful hunt and a failed hunt. So whenever you're out and about, if you're near something that you'd like to take a shot at, maybe have a look around and see if there's any bushes or trees like this, and they can help you remain undetected. If an animal literally walks right up to you, it will see you, but for the most part, it's pretty good coverage. It's certainly better than just being out in the open like I am now. So I've managed to bag this bear, so we'll have a look at the trophy scoring and session scoring. Before I actually check it out though, we'll just look at where I've tracked it. As you can see, a pressure zone has come up from where I've hit it. Doesn't matter where the animal actually drops dead, it's based on where you shoot it. So just bear that in mind if you're near need zones or anything like that. Or you're trying to locate a bagged animal and you don't have the tracks, start looking around the centre of a pressure zone. Alright, so let's have a look. So yeah, it's broken into the trophy rating and your session score. In this case, the trophy is for the skull. And here I've got it in the lung. So we've got the harvest check, and this is what factors into your scoring for your trophy rating. As you can see, I got 16.5, which should be enough to be a silver because you need 14.4. However, I didn't meet all of the requirements for the harvest check. As you can see in red, improper ammo. So even though I killed the animal in one shot, in the lung, it will bump down your grade by 1. So if you're after golds or diamonds, anything like that, you gotta make sure that your harvest check is gonna be right on all 4 levels. And then we look at this session score, the quick kills for how long it takes for it to die. In this case, because I'm using the wrong type of weapon, it took quite a while. I didn't meet all of the harvest checks, so I get 0% for that. Consecutive harvest is just you picking them up each hunt, each harvest. You're not leaving any out there, you're not getting them. I'm not sure exactly what time frame that works in. I don't know whether if I'd shot this bear and then shot like a deer, if I'd gone to get the deer first, whether that would reset my harvest, consecutive harvest, I don't know. And then the difficulty of the animal to hunt. So your session score is based on, well, your session score will relate to how much money and XP you get. The harvest check is purely for the trophy rating. So even if you don't get a quick kill bonus, if I'd been using the right ammo, this would be a silver. Right, so I've just leveled up from harvesting a coyote, so we'll just look at the skills and perks. As you level up, you unlock one skill or one perk. It alternates between the two. Gets up to in the level 40-ish area, somewhere like 42, 40, where you don't get them as often. But one thing I didn't realise was that, especially with perks, even if you're just focusing on one particular weapon, it pays to look at all of the weapons When I started out, I was just all about the rifle, and so I was ignoring the handguns, shotguns, the air archery and all that. But if you actually look in there, a lot of them have abilities that affect all weapons. You know, reload all weapons while running. That one's specifically for shotguns, but that increases the speed of entering and exiting aim mode using any weapon. So even if you're focusing on just one type of weapon and you're not interested in the handgun, have a look at what the perks are there, because you might be thinking that will benefit your preferred weapon anyway. You can reset the perks, but the more you have, the more it costs to do so. So rather than waste a big chunk of money, just have a look at everything before you make your choice. One thing I would recommend if you are focusing on missions, or just in general really anyway, is to mix up the weapons you use. Try not to fall into a trap of just using the same weapon for everything, because there will be missions that require specific gear, and a lot of that is locked behind like weapon scores, so you can end up in a position where you got to do a lot of grinding with one type of weapon just to unlock the gear needed for the next mission. So yeah, as I've said before, when I started, I went for the rifle with everything, and then basically hit a point where it's like, use like a scoped handgun. It's like, oh, I don't have a scope yet. Gotta rack up a lot of points to unlock that. So just bear that in mind. If you're out hunting, if you're not doing a weapon related mission, you know, maybe just pull out a different weapon than what you'd usually use. If you're in a position like you can get like a black-tailed deer nice and close, maybe instead of using a rifle, use the shotgun on it and just get some points that way. Something I'd suggest getting into the habit of doing is allocating gear to specific slots. Kind of keep it in the same place no matter what you're doing. Like put your rifle in the same place. Just have a general setup that you use basically all the time, because some hunts, some missions, you might be jumping quite quickly through binoculars to your caller to the weapon you want to use. I'm assuming, I'm playing this on PS4, I'm assuming on the PC gear is allocated to number buttons, number keys, perhaps not, but with PS4 you can either just tap left and right and slowly scroll through them, or you press up and then you can quickly jump through. Right now this is on a new game, so I don't have that much gear. I usually go out with pretty much everything I can carry. You know, one of every type of weapon, all the callers for everything, just in case I'm in a position where something comes along that I'd like to take down. I like to be prepared. But there will be times of hunting where you're going to be constantly shuffling between gear, and the last thing you want to do when you've got a tiny window to work with is blunder what you're grabbing. So I like to have everything set up so I know after my binoculars I got my callers. That's a black-tailed deer one, white-tailed as well. That's for coyote, red fox, because as you can see the callers have the same icon anyway, so you really need to learn what you have where. And speaking for PlayStation, if you hold down L1 or if you press L1, you can just bring up your little GPS. You don't have to pull it up every time. Same with the camera. If you want to take a photo, you can just hold square rather than select it from the menu. Just little things like that can help save time. Speaking of gear, you can also purchase a backpack and carry more stuff using that. I would strongly recommend you don't. it increases your visibility, and it's a huge difference. I used one time because I had to get from A to B, and I really wanted to carry everything that I could, so I thought, screw it, I'll buy one. You're better off probably trying to carry a tent, because even though a tent weighs more, at least you can put it down, grab what you need. Just bear in mind that if you put down a tent or a portable blind, you will scare off everything in the area. So don't think you can just get close to an animal, pop up a blind, and bag it from in there, because you automatically scare it away. But, yeah, with the backpack, I had one time when I was out hunting Roosevelt elk, and there was like a really good one, a couple 100 meters away. So I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll just sneak along and get closer, get a better shot, and go from there. And I was about 150 meters away, and it just bolted. And I had the wind going basically the way it is now, and I was crouched, prone, so I was really surprised that somehow I tipped it off. I was like, oh well, whatever. And then later on, I was coming across a black-tailed deer, and they're normally not too difficult to get close to, but they also, good 100 plus meters away, just bolted. And so I looked at my character, because I thought I'd taken off the backpack, and I actually still had it equipped. And so yeah, it makes a huge difference. I would strongly recommend you just don't bother with the backpack. At some point you can unlock a perk where you increase the amount you can carry, and for me that's basically enough to carry, yeah, as I've said, one of every type of weapon and all the callers I need. So yeah, I would not worry about backpacks. Just as I wouldn't worry about scents and sprays. I have only used one once because it was required for a mission, and I looked into it, and a lot of people saying that there's like pretty much no noticeable difference with them. So I mean, up to you if you want to use it. You know, maybe you believe it will make your hunt more successful. If so, you know, go for it. But I've never bothered with it. One thing I'd recommend doing if you are playing on PS4, or console, I'm not sure the setup is for like Xbox 360. I assume on PC you can back up your save, but basically, yeah, if you can back up your save, I recommend you do it regularly. I haven't had any big problems. I had one storyline mission where when I completed it and then started up another game, as in like I'd finished playing for the day, I finished the mission, I played for about another half an hour after finishing that mission, and then I turned off the console, came back the next day, and for some reason the game had decided I'd completed some of the story missions, which I had not. I don't know if it had rewarded me with XP or anything like that, but I went to do the next mission, and for some reason it was just gone. So luckily I had a backed up save, so it wasn't such a big deal. You might not care, you know, so each to your own, of course. The other thing that's good about backing up savers with some missions, there's a lot of work can go into just setting up the ideal hunt. So you may want to back up your save so that if it doesn't work out, you can try again without all that work. Yeah, like I said, there's some missions where maybe you have to hunt something of a specific grade with a specific organ hit, and yeah, you might do a lot of work to set up a need zone or a blind, whatever you're doing with your mission. You might put a lot of work into it, botch the shot, and then at least you can just reload your save and try again. Some people might feel that that's cheating, but I would argue when it comes to saving time with difficult missions, I'd go for it. Here's something that the game blatantly tells you at the very beginning that I didn't take on board. The lookout points. I basically ignored them for a long time. I know looking at, well, you know, observing from one of them gives you like 100 XP. But I didn't bother with them. What I didn't realize is that they bring up points of interest in the surrounding area, such as outposts. When you start the game, you don't really have, well, you don't have any outposts, you don't have any means of fast traveling, so they're really good to know where they are and claim them as you come across them. So you're probably doing it anyway, but yeah, make sure to check out the lookout points. If you're just doing a general walk around like I'm doing at the moment, and there's one nearby, you may as well go around your way to have a look from it. Okay, let's talk about need zones briefly. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but being a new map, I don't have that many. The main thing to watch with need zones is if there's too much hunting pressure around them, they disappear. But also, they can disappear if you harvest, well, if you shoot the animal that uses the need zone. So for some of them, like this need zone for the jackrabbit, there'll be a lot of jackrabbits that use it. But for animals like coyote, often the ones for a coyote, there's maybe like a couple that use it. So it's very easy to accidentally kill all the animals that use it and then it goes away. I had one mission involving coyote and it had to be done in a specific area and I had a need zone, but I keep missing the mark. I think I had to get it in the heart or something like that, and I wasn't getting in the heart. So after a couple of attempts, the need zone went away. Even though I would then go out into the rest of the map, hunt other animals, so the need zone, the pressure zone would disappear. After 2 or 3 attempts, it was gone regardless, because that's how many animals were using it, and yeah, I'd hunted them all out. Now, you can get a perk at some point, or a skill, I should say, where when you access a need zone, it tells you how many animals use it. But when you're actually in the area like this, there's no information. Apparently, you can sort of wait X amount of time, animals kind of replenish it, or you know, the number can change and grow. I haven't seen any real evidence. I'm not saying that that's not true. It's more, I haven't seen any real evidence that would let you know exactly what your numbers are now. So that's possible that you could try that as well, is if the number's low, go into another area, wait a while, maybe hunt that same species in a different place, and that might encourage more animals to use that need zone. But need zones can be very important, especially if you're doing missions regarding animals like coyote, because as I was saying, there's a lot of missions that are based in a specific area, and if you have one of them in that area, a need zone for that animal in that area, it can make life so much easier. So yeah, I would definitely say keep an eye out for need zones, and if there's anything like coyote, definitely go for it. Like, definitely mark it and take care of it. I'll also say be careful about other animals near that need zone, because you can actually change the animal's need zone, like especially around areas like lakes, where if you see a bunch of a different animal drinking at that same spot and you spot them, you can accidentally change the need zone to a different animal, and that isn't always a good thing. Sometimes it's a good idea too to follow tracks, like older tracks, like even if they do say they're old, maybe follow them. They can often lead to a need zone. Here's a time where I had to hunt a coyote in a specific area, and I botched the actual hunt, but following its tracks, even going, you know, backtracking, I found the need zone for the coyote. And then it was a simple case for that mission of just like resting until closer to the time it was used, setting up a blind spot, well, setting up a blind, calling one in and bagging it. So I'd say, yeah, sometimes even if you see old tracks, or if you encounter an animal but you don't successfully hunt it, just maybe follow the tracks where they came from, and yeah, see what it needs to. Doesn't always work, but I've had a few times where following old tracks I've found 2 or 3 new need zones, and as I was saying, with animals like coyote, red fox, they can be extremely useful. One last bit of advice I'd have is a bit different, but I would highly recommend that you play wearing headphones. When I started out, I didn't really bother with them. I didn't really do much gaming with headphones on, and then I started using them, and it makes a world of difference. You probably use them already anyway, but if you don't, I would highly recommend a pair of headphones. I'd often find animals would come from all directions. Well, not come from all directions. The sound of an approaching animal would sound like it's coming from all directions. I won't be able to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from. I find headphones really help with that. And also animals like coyote are really, really quiet. So I've had plenty of times where I've been trying to call a coyote in, not realizing that there's actually one in the immediate area. And a couple times I've botched an opportunity simply because I wasn't paying full attention, and at the last minute would realize not only was there one in the area, but it had basically walked right on through my location and got a smell of me and taken off. So if you're not using headphones, get some headphones. Definitely makes things easier. And that's really all I have to say. It was just a short video on things I didn't know, I didn't take on board. If you're new to the game, you might be feeling a little daunted. Having started a new game, you kind of forget how much easier it is as you go on, and that's the thing. Like, the more weapons and gear and perks you unlock, the easier it gets, the easier tracking gets, the easier it all gets. So to begin with, you're a little put off. I'd say just keep at it, and just, yeah, eventually things will get easier. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you think there's anything I missed, or what happened with you if you have been playing this game. What are some things you didn't realise at first? Let me know in the comments. And until the next hunt, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.